The galactic empire of Velthar had ruled the stars for more than 10,000 years. It was the greatest power the galaxy had ever known. Thousands of species had joined its banners, some willingly, most by force. Every planet that resisted had been reduced to dust by the Empire's enormous war fleets. In the Hall of Command on the world of Velthara Prime, the Emperor's admirals stood before a massive holographic map of the galaxy. Red lines showed the borders of their empire. The few remaining gray spots, uncharted regions, were targets for expansion. At the center of the meeting stood Admiral Kareth Voss, a tall alien with silver skin and cold violet eyes. He was one of the youngest fleet commanders in Imperial history. His voice was smooth, proud, and filled with confidence. "The last unclaimed sectors lie beyond the outer rim," he said. "Our scouts report a cluster of unregistered systems near the galactic edge. No known civilizations, no defense networks. It is time to bring them into the Empire." The Emperor's hologram flickered to life. His voice echoed through the chamber like rolling thunder. "Do it. Expand the Empire's light. None shall stand against Velthar." Kareth bowed and smiled. He had led dozens of conquests before. Whole worlds had surrendered at the sight of his dreadnoughts. No one dared resist the Empire anymore. But this time, something was different. The scouts had brought back strange data, massive energy readings near a blue-white star in the uncharted zone. When they tried to scan closer, their sensors failed. The readings looked artificial, but ancient. The name of the system made Kareth pause. Sol. He had heard that name before, buried in the Empire's oldest archives. It belonged to a species long thought extinct, humans. Forgotten legends in the Empire's history records, humans were described as short-lived and reckless creatures. They had risen quickly, fought even faster, and then vanished after the fall of Sol thousands of years ago. Most believed they had destroyed themselves with their own weapons. Others said a cosmic event had consumed their homeworld. The stories were so old that few cared anymore. Still, Kareth was curious. "Set course for the Sol system," he ordered. "Let us see what ghosts hide there." The Imperial 7th Fleet, nearly 100 warships, jumped through hyperspace, their silver hulls gleaming like knives. Days later, they emerged in the shadow of a cold, blue star. And there they found them. The silent giants orbiting the star were dozens of enormous objects. They looked like ships, but no ships of any known design. Each one was the size of a small moon, built from black metal that shimmered faintly with blue light. Their surfaces were covered in strange markings like scars left by 1,000 battles. Kareth's bridge filled with data feeds. His science officer, a young officer named Rel, shook his head. "Admiral, our scanners can't identify the material. Energy readings are off the scale. They seem dormant, but I think they're still active." Kareth raised an eyebrow. "Active? They've been here for millennia." "Sir, I can't explain it," Rel said. "It's like they're sleeping." The Admiral laughed softly. "Sleeping ships? Don't be ridiculous. These are relics, nothing more. Probably old human technology that burned out long ago." He turned to his crew. "Prepare a firing solution. We'll destroy one and take the remains for study." His officers hesitated. "Admiral, what if—" "Do as I command," Kareth snapped. "We are the Empire. No ancient machine will frighten us." The awakening as the Imperial ships powered their weapons. Something happened. The nearest black vessel flickered with light, blue energy pulsing along its hull like veins waking from slumber. One by one, the other massive ships did the same, their surfaces glowing brighter until the entire system shimmered with blue fire. "Energy surge!" Rel shouted. "It's massive! We're detecting power levels beyond our dreadnoughts. Sir, this is impossible." Kareth's smug smile faded. "Hold fire," he ordered. "Open a communication channel." Static filled the speakers, followed by a series of deep, rhythmic pulses. It wasn't any known language. Then, suddenly words formed. Ancient Terran English translated by the ship's AI. "Signal confirmed. Human fleet reactivation complete. Identifying Imperial signatures. Tone detected. Hostility. Command. Contain laughter. The bridge fell silent. Contain laughter? One officer whispered. Kareth frowned. Is this some kind of malfunction? Before anyone could answer, another message came through, this time clear, human, and mocking. They think they can fight us? Then the channel closed. The first strike panic rippled through the Imperial fleet. Their computers couldn't lock onto the massive ships. Every attempt to scan them resulted in corrupted data. The black ships began to move, slowly at first, then faster, forming precise geometric formations that no alien fleet had ever used. They're not derelicts, Rel said in disbelief. They're ships, human ships. Kareth clenched his fists. Fire all batteries. Now! Dozens of plasma lances and railgun salvos tore through space, striking the nearest human ship. The explosions were blinding, yet when the light faded, the vessel remained untouched. Direct hits, no damage, shouted an officer. Then, the human ship responded. A beam of pure white light flashed across the void. It didn't explode. It didn't even appear violent. It simply erased an Imperial battleship from existence, no debris, no radiation, nothing left behind. The fleet fell into chaos. What happened to the Invictus? It's gone, sir. Not destroyed. Gone. Their weapons are rewriting matter itself. Kareth tried to steady his voice. Regroup. Fall back to position. Before he could finish, another Imperial ship vanished. And then another. The human ships weren't chasing them. They weren't even firing continuously. They seemed to be testing, watching the Empire's response. And through the comms came the faintest sound, soft at first, then unmistakable. Laughter. Human laughter. It wasn't cruel, it wasn't angry, it was amused. The Emperor's fear on Velthara Prime. The Emperor watched the battle feed from his throne. The transmission was filled with static, but what he saw made his blood run cold. A single human fleet, ships older than the Empire itself, was dismantling his armada like it was nothing more than a toy. His advisors whispered nervously. We thought humans were extinct. If they have this kind of power, how long have they been hiding it? Should we send reinforcements? The Emperor raised a trembling hand. No, we wait. We watch. He didn't want to admit it aloud, but he could see what the laughter meant. These humans were not just strong, they were confident. They found the Empire's attack funny, and that terrified him more than anything else. Kareth's desperation. Back in the Sol system, Kareth's fleet was falling apart. Ships were retreating in every direction. He barked orders trying to restore discipline. Form up. We are the Empire. We will not... A deep voice interrupted him over the comms. It was human. Calm, almost friendly. You've entered Terran space without permission, the voice said. Please identify your purpose before we start laughing again. Kareth froze. He could hear faint chuckles in the background. Dozens of human voices laughing softly as if this entire invasion were a joke. He tried to sound brave. We are the Galactic Empire. We claim this system in the name of Velthar. You will surrender your vessels and technology at once. There was silence for a few seconds. Then the voice replied, still calm. Ah, an empire. How cute. You must be new. More laughter followed, louder this time. Kareth slammed his fist on the console. How dare you mock us? You will... The human voice interrupted. Relax, Admiral. We're not mocking you. We're just surprised you came here. It's been a while since anyone was foolish enough to knock on our door. Then the transmission ended. Kareth stood frozen. His pride, his certainty, everything he believed in, shaken by a few simple words and laughter. The return of humanity as the Imperial ships limped away from the system. The humans didn't pursue. They simply watched. Their ships returned to silent motion, drifting peacefully in orbit. But the message was clear. Humanity was not extinct. They had survived, hidden, and evolved into something the galaxy could no longer comprehend. For Kareth, it was the first time he had ever known fear. When his damaged fleet finally reached Velthara space, the Emperor demanded a report. Kareth bowed, trembling. Your Majesty. The humans are back. The Emperor's eyes widened. And? Kareth hesitated. They laughed at us. The Emperor stared at him in silence, the words echoing through the throne room like a curse. They laughed, and somewhere, light years away, among the quiet stars of Sol, human voices continued to laugh. Not with cruelty, but with amusement, as if welcoming old friends back to the game. Humanity had returned to the galaxy. The story of the Battle of Sol spread across the galaxy like wildfire. No one could believe it. A single human fleet, ships older than any known empire, had faced the mighty Galactic Empire and forced it to retreat. The Empire's government tried to hide the truth, but the recordings leaked through pirate channels and smuggler relays. In those clips, everyone could hear it, the unmistakable sound of laughter echoing through the comms as human ships erased Imperial warships, like dust in the wind. That laughter became a nightmare for the Empire. The shockwave in the Imperial capital, panic and anger mixed like poison. Admiral Kareth Voss stood before the Emperor again. He was no longer proud or arrogant. His uniform was torn, his eyes hollow. The Emperor's voice thundered. You lost an entire fleet, Admiral! How could this happen? Kareth bowed deeply. They were not ghosts, my Emperor. The humans have returned. Their technology is beyond anything we have ever seen. Our weapons, our shields, nothing worked. The Emperor slammed his metal gauntlet on the armrest. Then we build stronger weapons. We are Velthar. We do not fear extinct animals. The court cheered, but there was no real confidence in the air. The ministers had seen the battle recordings. They had seen the humans' calm voices and their strange laughter while entire dreadnoughts vanished. Kareth raised his head. Permission to speak freely, Majesty. The Emperor nodded slowly. I don't believe they destroyed us because they wanted to win. They were testing us. They were playing with us. The Emperor's expression darkened. You think we amuse them? Yes, Kareth said quietly. And I fear what will happen when they stop laughing. Hidden in the void far away, deep beyond the Empire's borders, the human fleet was no longer asleep. In the system of Erebos Prime, a massive station floated between two suns. Thousands of ships, some ancient, some newly built, moved in precise formations. Humanity had not been destroyed. They had hidden, far beyond the reach of alien empires, in a region of folded space known as the Veil Expanse. For thousands of years they had watched, they had learned, they had built quietly unseen, turning their science into something close to magic. Now, their leaders gathered once more. In a great chamber aboard the flagship HSS Infinity, Fleet Admiral Mara Tennyson stood before a group of officers. She was tall, her hair streaked with silver, her eyes calm but sharp. The Empire found Sol, she said simply. They fired first. They lost, the officers chuckled softly. They had all seen the recordings. One of them, Commander Ryan Cade, leaned forward. They'll be back, ma'am. The Velthar don't handle humiliation well. Mara smiled faintly. Good. Maybe next time they'll bring something interesting. The room filled with quiet laughter. To anyone else it might have sounded arrogant, but to humans it was something deeper. Confidence born from survival. They had faced extinction before. Nothing in the galaxy could scare them anymore. Prepare the restoration fleet, Mara said. If the Empire wants war, let's give them a demonstration. Empire's revenge weeks later, the Velthar Empire assembled its largest armada in 1,000 years. Over 10,000 ships gathered near the Orion Gate, preparing to strike into human territory. The Emperor himself gave the order. Show them the price of defiance. Burn their systems. Wipe their name from history once more. Admiral Kareth stood at the edge of the command platform staring at the stars. He had begged the Emperor not to do this, but no one listened. When the fleet jumped into hyperspace, Kareth closed his eyes. They're going to laugh again, he whispered. First contact, again. The Imperial fleet exited hyperspace near the Epsilon cluster, one of the outer systems of human space. The area looked quiet, too quiet. There were no planetary defenses, no visible ships, no radio signals. Only silence. The Imperial sensors picked up faint energy traces, but the readings made no sense. Distances shifted, coordinates twisted. It was as if space itself was playing tricks on them. Stabilize the scanners, Kareth ordered. Suddenly, one of the sensor officers shouted, Admiral! We've got movement. Dozens of small lights appeared around the fleet, tiny, fast-moving ships. They were smaller than Imperial fighters but moved in perfect sync like they shared a single mind. Kareth leaned forward. Show me visual. The image came up on the main screen, sleek black vessels with the Terran insignia glowing on their wings. Then a voice came over the comms. Calm, confident, human. Velthar Fleet. This is Commander Ryan Cade of the Terran Defense Force. You have entered human space. Please state your business, the Velthar commander snarled. We are here to bring you under Imperial rule. There was a pause. Then faintly came that sound again, laughter. You really don't learn, do you? Ryan said. All right. Let's begin the simulation. Before the Velthar could react, the human ships vanished. The radar screens lit up with hundreds of false signals. Human ships appeared everywhere, above, below, even inside Imperial formations. Target lock impossible, shouted one officer. They're in multiple places at once. Holographic projections, cloaking fields, quantum mirages, technologies beyond alien comprehension. The humans didn't fire immediately. They played. They shifted reality, bending light and space, forcing Imperial ships to shoot at their own allies. The humans' voices filled the comms again. Relax, Velthar. We're just adjusting the difficulty. Then the real attack began. The second defeat, a single human dreadnought, smaller than the Imperial flagships, appeared behind the Velthar formation. Its name flashed across the screen, HSS Horizon. It fired once. The beam didn't explode. It simply cut through space, slicing 5 Imperial cruisers cleanly in half. The debris drifted silently, glowing blue from residual energy. Return fire, Kareth shouted. Hundreds of weapons fired, but every shot missed. The human ship shimmered, vanished, and reappeared elsewhere. They're bending reality around their ships, Rel shouted in shock. The humans didn't need numbers. Their precision was absolute. Every shot hit something vital. Every move was planned. Within 20 minutes, the once mighty Imperial Armada was reduced to chaos. Ships collided, communications failed, and their chain of command shattered. The humans broadcast one last transmission to every Imperial ship. Simulation complete. Results. You lose. Then in unison the human fleet laughed, a deep, rich laughter that echoed across the void, and then they vanished. No explosions. No traces, just silence. The Emperor's collapse. When the few surviving ships limped back to Imperial space, the Emperor refused to believe the reports. He executed 3 officers for spreading lies, but even he couldn't deny the truth when he saw the transmission. Himself, the humans' final message, and their laughter. Across the Empire, that sound became infamous. People whispered it in fear. If you ever hear humans laugh, run. The once mighty Velthar Empire began to fracture. Some worlds rebelled. Others surrendered to the humans before they even arrived. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Empire knew what it meant to be afraid. The human calmback aboard the HSS Infinity. Admiral Mara watched the battle recordings with a satisfied smile. Around her, the officers laughed quietly. They still think it's a war, Ryan said. They have no idea what's really happening. Mara nodded. They think we fight for conquest. But we're testing the network. Testing? Every system, every reaction, every fleet movement. We're mapping the galaxy again. The Velthar just happened to be the first ones to knock. Ryan grinned. And the laughter? Mara looked out the window at the stars. It reminds them we're human. We laugh when we face fear. We laugh when we survive. And we always, always survive. She turned back to her officers. Begin Phase 2. Let's see how long the Empire can pretend they're still in control. The message spreads weeks past. Rumors of the human return spread faster than light. Smugglers, merchants, and explorers all told the same story. Black ships with glowing blue lines, laughter echoing through space, and Imperial fleets disappearing without a trace. Some alien species celebrated, hoping the humans would bring down the Empire. Others hid, fearing the mysterious Terrans would conquer them next. But the humans didn't invade. They didn't demand tribute. They simply watched. Human probes appeared over Imperial worlds, scanning and then vanishing without firing a shot. Sometimes they left messages behind, written in simple galactic standard. Remember your arrogance. Laughter is mercy. The Empire's propaganda failed. Soldiers deserted. Civilians whispered that the humans were gods, beings who had returned from extinction to punish the proud. But humans were no gods. They were something worse. They were curious. Kareth's realization, Admiral Kareth Voss sat alone in his quarters. His rank meant nothing now. The Emperor had stopped trusting him, calling him cursed. Kareth had seen enough to understand the truth. Humans weren't trying to conquer. They were testing the galaxy like scientists studying insects. He remembered their laughter, not cruel but patient, as if they were watching children playing with sticks. He opened a secret communication channel, one that linked to old Imperial records. Hidden deep in the archives was a quote from a long-forgotten Terran explorer. "When humanity laughs, it is not because we are fearless. It is because we have already faced the worst and survived it." Kareth read the line again and again. A strange feeling filled him. Not anger, not even hatred, but respect. Maybe they deserve to rule, he whispered. The calm before the storm, in the Veil Expanse, humanity continued preparing. Their ships multiplied, their fleets. The Velthar Empire was falling apart. For 10,000 years, its rule had been absolute. Now fear ruled instead. Every fleet sent against the humans had vanished. Entire sectors were empty. No wreckage, no distress signals, no survivors. The only thing that returned was the sound of laughter. That laughter became a warning across the galaxy. It was soft, calm, and full of something the Empire could not understand: confidence without cruelty. Worlds that had once worshipped the Emperor now whispered a new phrase. If you hear the humans laugh, it's already over. The breaking point on Velthera Prime, the Emperor sat in his throne room staring at the reports. His empires were collapsing, planet after planet rebelling, fleets refusing orders, colonies surrendering to invisible enemies that never fired a shot. His once golden empire now looked like a dying star, collapsing under its own pride. He slammed his fist against the console. Where are they? Where are the humans hiding? No one answered. His ministers looked down in silence, then a voice came from the shadows. Perhaps they are not hiding, Majesty, said Admiral Kareth Voss, stepping forward. Perhaps they are simply watching. The Emperor glared at him. You bring me defeat after defeat and still you speak? Kareth met his gaze. Majesty, we cannot win this war. Not with weapons, not with numbers. We must talk to them. The court burst into whispers. To talk with the humans was to admit weakness. But the Emperor, tired and desperate, finally nodded. Then go, Kareth Voss. If they will speak, speak. If they will not, tell them we are not afraid. Kareth bowed low. You are, Majesty. And so am I. That's why they laugh. The journey Kareth boarded his ship, the Imperial Dawn, and left for the edge of human space. For days, he traveled through dead sectors where no stars shone and strange distortions rippled through space. His crew was silent, terrified. Every time they passed a faint blue glow, they thought the humans were watching. Finally, they reached the Erebos Expanse, the border of human territory. Admiral, his navigator whispered, we're receiving a transmission. The screen flickered, and a woman's face appeared. Human. Calm. Her eyes were sharp, her expression unreadable. I am Admiral Mara Tennyson of the Terran Restoration Fleet. You are far from home, Velthar. Kareth stood straight. I come on behalf of my Emperor. We seek dialogue. Mara's lips curved slightly, not quite a smile. Interesting. You attack us twice and now you want to talk. Why? Kareth hesitated. Because we cannot fight you. Because we do not understand you. And because I believe you do not wish for our destruction. There was silence for a few seconds. Then Mara nodded. You're right. We don't. The screen blinked off. Then a new signal appeared. Coordinates for a meeting. Come alone, her voice said. No fleet, no tricks. Just talk. The meeting Kareth's ship arrived in orbit of an unfamiliar planet. A green world with white clouds and blue oceans. His sensors identified it immediately. Earth. It was supposed to be gone, burned in the fall of Sol. But here it was. Reborn, alive. A small human shuttle approached, guiding him down. Kareth followed, heart pounding. When he stepped out, he saw something that shook him to his core. Children. Human children playing near a lake. laughing, running, chasing each other through the grass. He turned to see Admiral Mara waiting for him. She wore a simple black uniform with a blue stripe. Her eyes held both strength and peace. "You've come a long way, Admiral Voss," she said. "Welcome to Earth." Kareth looked around in disbelief. "But how?" "This planet was destroyed." Mara smiled faintly. "Humans have a habit of rebuilding what others destroy." They walked together through a quiet path surrounded by trees. Birds sang. The air was fresh. "You wanted to understand us," Mara said. "So tell me, what do you think of what you see?" Kareth took a deep breath. "I don't understand how you can laugh at war." Mara stopped walking and looked at him. "We don't laugh at war. We laugh in war," he frowned. "What's the difference? When you laugh at something, it means you disrespect it. But when you laugh in the middle of fear, pain, and death, it means you're still human. It means you haven't lost hope." Kareth was silent. Mara continued, her voice calm but firm. "When the Empire's first fleet attacked Sol, we could have destroyed all of you, erased your entire civilization in an instant. But we didn't. Why?" he asked quietly. "Because we've already made that mistake once," Mara said. "A long time ago we fought a war that nearly ended us. We won, but we killed our spirit. It took us centuries to learn that true victory isn't about domination, it's about restraint. The lesson they stopped near a hill overlooking a rebuilt human city. Shining towers rose into the sky powered by clean energy. People of all races, human and alien alike, walked the streets peacefully." Kareth's eyes widened. "Aliens living here?" "Yes," Mara said. "Refugees. Survivors from worlds your empire conquered. We gave them homes, not chains." Kareth stared at her. "You call that mercy?" Mara smiled softly. "We call it understanding." He turned to her. "And what will you do to the Velthar?" "To us?" She looked at him seriously. "That depends on you. We don't need your destruction. We need your awakening." He frowned. "Awakening?" "Yes," she said. "Your empire built itself on fear and control. You believe strength comes from domination. We learned it comes from choice, especially the choice not to destroy." Kareth slowly nodded. "Then your laughter?" "It was never mockery." "No," she said. "It was hope. A reminder to ourselves and to you that fear only has power if you let it." For a long moment, Kareth said nothing. He simply watched the city, the people, the children laughing. Then he whispered, "Perhaps the galaxy should fear that more than your weapons." Mara chuckled. "Perhaps, but we'd rather they understand it instead." The Emperor's last stand. While Kareth met with the humans, the Emperor prepared his final gamble. He refused to accept peace. He gathered his last hidden fleet, massive war platforms powered by forbidden dark energy. Their goal, destroy Earth and end the human threat once and for all. When Kareth returned to Velthara, he tried to stop him. "Majesty, please," he begged. "They offered peace. If you attack now, you'll doom us all." But the Emperor's mind was broken by fear. "You're a traitor, Kareth Voss. You've been corrupted by them." He pressed a button on his throne. "Begin the assault, the final battle." The Emperor's fleet arrived near Earth. Hundreds of warships formed a burning wall of light. But Earth did not panic. The humans were ready. The Terran Restoration fleet appeared. Thousands of sleek black ships, glowing with soft blue light. They didn't form battle lines. They simply drifted, quiet, waiting. The Emperor's voice roared through the comms. "This ends now. Your laughter dies today." Mara's voice answered, calm and steady. "You still don't understand. It was never laughter at you. It was laughter for us." Then something extraordinary happened. The human ships began transmitting massive energy waves, not to attack, but to disarm. One by one, the Emperor's ships shut down. Their weapons froze, their reactors went silent. "Impossible!" shouted the Emperor. "They're disabling my entire fleet." Mara's voice echoed again. "We have no need to kill you. You've already destroyed yourselves with fear." And then came the laughter again. Not loud, not cruel, gentle, almost musical. It spread through the channels, calm and peaceful. The Emperor screamed in rage. "Stop that sound." But before he could act, his ship's systems failed completely. Through the windows of his throne room, he saw the stars fade as hundreds of human ships surrounded him. Mara appeared on his screen. "This is mercy, Emperor. Learn from it." Then her image disappeared. The Emperor fell to his knees, surrounded by silence. The aftermath, When the Velthar fleet was returned safely to its own space, not a single life lost. The galaxy was stunned. The humans could have destroyed the entire empire, but they didn't. Instead, they left a message on every Imperial network, written in simple words. We do not conquer, we remind. Laugh with us, not against us. Across thousands of worlds, the message became legend. The Velthar Empire slowly reformed, turning from war to peace, guided by Kareth Voss, who became the first ambassador to the Terran Alliance. Under his leadership, the Empire began to rebuild, not through conquest, but through cooperation. And whenever new cadets entered the Imperial Academy, they were taught one rule above all. If you ever hear humans laugh in battle, it means you've already lost. The return of hope years later, Admiral Mara stood on the same hill overlooking Earth's shining cities. Children laughed in the distance. The sky was peaceful. Ryan Cade approached her. Do you think they've learned their lesson? Mara smiled faintly. Some of them. The rest will in time. Laughter is patient, he laughed softly. And what about us? She looked up at the stars. We keep watching. The galaxy will test us again, and when it does, we'll laugh once more, Ryan grinned. Still think they'll ever understand why? Mara smiled, her eyes reflecting the stars. Maybe, but even if they don't, that's all right. Laughter doesn't need understanding, it just needs courage. The wind blew softly over the fields as the laughter of children echoed again, blending with the hum of distant ships. Humanity had faced extinction, fear and war, and through it all they had never lost what made them unique. They laughed,